Story 1. Physical cheating is loud and messy. Emotional infidelity is the quiet betrayal that eats away at trust from the inside. Story 2. Emotional cheating constitutes 99% of what cheating is. The physical aspect is just the final stage. Cheaters do not simply walk down the street and engage with a random person. It is usually a much more involved process. Story 3. I would rather deal with a one-night stand than months of my partner confiding in someone else about their dreams, fears, and daily life. At least with physical cheating, you know exactly what happened. Story 4. The prejudice is that women find the emotional part of cheating worse and men find the physical part worse. I do not know how true or scientifically researched that really is, but I certainly get that impression from my life experience. In my personal experience, I get the impression that a woman could more easily forgive a one-night stand, as long as no emotions and attachment are involved. A man could more easily forgive an emotional affair as long as no physicality was involved. Story 5. People seem to be misunderstanding the concept. The word cheating implies there is some sort of manipulation going on. Of course, the average person expects their significant other to have friends. Not emotionally cheating means talking to a platonic friend about a tough time you are having while maintaining a healthy relationship with your partner. Emotionally cheating means specifically neglecting and excluding your partner in favor of having close conversations with a friend instead. Obviously, if these conversations veer into flirtation and inappropriate displays of affection, that is also cheating. Yes, it does happen. It happened to me. I do not think physical versus emotional cheating is worse. It depends on what the individual values the most. Story 6. I view emotional cheating on the same level as physical cheating. In both instances, you are giving something of yourself that is reserved for your partner. People sometimes do not consider emotional cheating as cheating because the physical aspect has not happened yet, which is ridiculous. Emotional cheating is just the preparation period for physical cheating. This is just my opinion. Story 7. They are both equally harmful and can lead to each other. It is not entirely black and white, though. There are levels to emotional cheating, and where the line is drawn depends on the people involved. There are also issues with the societal notion that men cannot be sexually assaulted. Many people of all genders believe they cheated when they were actually assaulted. There is also a hybrid kind of cheating involving sex chats or following adult content creators and forming a parasocial relationship with them. You are not physically doing anything, but you are sexually interacting with another person. Even though the interaction is not reciprocated, it is still a relationship and to some extent emotional, even if it is just, these are my favorite people to get off to. Your favorite person to get off to should be your actual partner. Story 8. If I cannot share it with my partner, I cannot do it. She knows I enjoy pornography and conversations here. I have come to realize that just speaking your mind is a good way to live. Nothing to hide, nothing to lose. Story 9. Physically is worse in my opinion. There are many steps that need to be taken for that to happen, and they could have stopped at any one of them. Emotionally, while still bad in my opinion, I would be more likely to forgive. Story 10. I think emotional cheating can be more damaging. Often, you are gaslit into staying, with phrases like, "It's just a friend." If you do stay, it results in long-term suffering until you finally leave. This often makes you feel crazy and causes you to question everything and your own judgment. Physical cheating is painful too, but it is much clearer. You just leave immediately without doubting yourself or your sanity. Story 11. It is also worse because you know your partner and the accomplice most of the time talk negatively about you. It is a betrayal because instead of airing their grievances with you, if they were even true, they chose to gossip about you. They are not even a good friend, let alone a life partner. Story 12. Emotional cheating. My ex-wife would routinely hang out at bars with her ex-boyfriend and maintain close relationships with other ex-boyfriends, even though she knew I did not like it and it made me uncomfortable. Actual cheating. My ex-wife got drunk and used cocaine at an employee party and had sex with one of her coworkers just 2 months after we had gotten married. Both are harmful. If you have a gut feeling about something, there is often a reason. I wish I had not ignored the signs. I feel like I wasted 4 years of my life with this person. Story 13. Both are dishonest and harmful. Physical abuse is worse as it is not only painful but also potentially puts you at risk of contracting a sexually transmitted disease, creating a double impact. Story 14. Emotional cheating that leads to physical cheating is the worst. By that point, they have completely chosen the other person over you in almost every way. It is truly devastating. Story 15. No, you can love more than one person and have connections with others. That is normal. The Greeks often recognized different kinds of love and types of connections, and that is fine. Frankly, it makes more sense to me than some modern advice. A relationship is choosing to honor someone above others. By not acting on other feelings, you choose to respect and honor your actual partner and the bond you share. Story 16. Emotional infidelity hurts more because it involves connection and trust. Physical infidelity can be a mistake, but emotional infidelity means they gave someone else your place. Story 17. This is a widely researched topic within psychology and evolutionary psychology. At the group level, men view physical cheating as worse than emotional cheating, while the opposite is true for women. Story 18. Betrayal is betrayal. It does not matter if the infidelity is physical, emotional, financial, or any other form. Story 19. Physical and emotional actions can occur without awareness, simply perceived as friendship. If that person stops after realizing what is happening, it is acceptable. However, once you cross the physical barrier, it becomes a fully conscious decision to behave irresponsibly. There is no going back. Story 20. When some people are caught cheating, they say it was just physical and meant nothing because for some, it is worse if feelings are involved. For me, whenever I have been cheated on, I could not care less how my significant other felt about the person they cheated with. Whether there were feelings or it was just a hookup is irrelevant. It hurts the same. Someone you trusted and cared for lied to you and showed they do not care about you or your relationship. Story 21. You cannot control your emotional or physical attraction to anyone. Even while in a relationship, there is a good chance you will meet someone you find attractive. If you give in to the ideas and fantasies about them and are ready to cross the line if they are willing to, then it does not matter if you get physical or not. You have already cheated, in my opinion. Story 22. Emotional cheating means you want to have sex with another person, even if you haven't. Maybe the opportunity isn't available, or maybe you're holding back because it's wrong, but in your heart, you really want to. At this point, it's basically the same as if you took the last step over the finish line. Story 23. Physical cheating can be forgiven. Emotional cheating means you have already checked out mentally. That is much harder to fix. Story 24. Emotional cheating is awful because it is not necessarily final. If sexual activity took place, that is a clear deal breaker. Like emotional abuse, it is harmful and wrong, but if there is physical harm, things are clear. Stopping at an emotional affair leaves doubt and insecurity. It leaves room for repair. A physical affair has a definite ending. Story 25. I'm surprised so many people are more okay with emotional cheating than physical. Personally, I would feel a lot worse if I found out my partner was having feelings or falling in love with someone else. That is much harder to come back from, if it is possible at all. Physical cheating would be tough too, but not necessarily. Sex and love are not the same. Story 26. If you had asked me 2 years ago, I would have said that emotional cheating is nonsense and physical cheating is mandatory for every relationship so they can grow from it. I was very ignorant about this, and unfortunately, the person who opened my eyes to these things is gone. With all my previous partners, I didn't care to cheat emotionally or physically. Maybe I never loved them. But then this one person actually showed me that this was so wrong, and one thought popped up. I understand it now or back then before we went no contact, because for the first time ever in my life I cared for somebody. So all in all, if a person is capable of cheating in any way, whatever it is, they don't love deeply. Story 27. Maybe the easy answer, but I'd say the combination of the two. A drunken one-night stand with someone she barely knew? It sucks. But if she's honest about it, it's not too hard to get past. Sex is sex, and at this stage of my life, we've all had sex with other people. Getting emotionally close to someone else? almost inevitable and almost impossible to quantify. There's no clear line between having a good friend to confide in and emotional cheating. Also, you have to balance your own insecurity and jealousy when accusing a partner of emotional cheating. Having your partner who loves you, wants to have kids with you, and get married actually involved with someone else the whole time. Showing you texts of your partner talking badly about you behind your back to the other person. That means all the love you shared was a lie, and you've become unaware of a betrayal you never knew existed. That's the worst blow I've had. Story 28. Differentiating between emotional and physical cheating is, in my opinion, already where the problem lies. Every person has different boundaries. Some are completely fine with their significant other sleeping with other people, while some see direct messaging a person of the desired sexual orientation as cheating. You need to set your boundaries at the beginning of a relationship. If you do, you must respect the boundaries of your partner. If you do not, you have no right to tell someone they are cheating. Talking solves many problems. People just do not want to. Story 29. Neither is worse than the other. The core issues of cheating happen with both damaged trust, self-doubt, betrayal, and questioning the day-to-day. My biggest issue when I sat down and examined it, struggling with a big blow from being cheated on, was the secrecy, the lying, and how my own judgment was now in doubt because the person I thought had my back did not. Ultimately, it would not matter if it was just one or the other. The outcome is the same. Story 30. Emotional. I recently found out that my significant other had what I would call an emotional affair with someone last year for several months, to the point his mother found out, told him and the girl off. I wondered at the time if something was going on but didn't push it. I have no idea how to bring up that I know about it. At least if it was physical, I could try to rationalize it or get angry because that is very much off limits and my significant other knows that, so I would feel justified in my response. But with emotional, I have no idea how to even heal that within myself or how to fix my relationship now that I know. With physical, I would know everything. With emotional, I am not sure what is real and what is not, how far it went, how close it was to becoming more, or what that girl knows and got to witness that I never even had a chance at. Story 31. Emotional cheating is where it all starts. In my opinion, it is just as bad. My ex prioritized her online friend over me. That was when the emotional cheating began because why would you prioritize a friend over your partner? As a message to my ex and other women who need to hear this, if you have to emphasize that he is just a friend, he is not just a friend. Story 32. You cannot control your emotions, but you can control your actions. If you develop feelings for someone other than your partner, then it is emotional cheating, but I do not think it is bad. However, if you start flirting with them and choose to proceed with the emotional affair, then it is just as bad as physical cheating, if not worse. Story 33. No. Emotional cheating means I did something wrong and I can fix this. The other person did not get what they wanted. Physical cheating means she did something wrong and the other person got what they wanted. I cannot undo that. Story 34. Emotional cheating is worse. It says, I am not really in love with you, and I have found someone else. Physical cheating could be that someone is simply weak to temptation or could not resist. The body has the ability to override the mind in some circumstances. Emotional cheating is not a poor choice or weak moment. Emotional cheating occurs because you are actually losing your partner and the emotional connection that bound you. Story 35. It depends on the people and the relationship. What I have with some of my friends, many people here would call cheating. My wife does not care, but if I had sex with them, my marriage would be over, and rightfully so. As others have said, generally, people do not cheat for the sex alone. There is usually an emotional component to it. Story 36. People grow apart in marriages. They miss having a confidant. Someone crosses their path with whom they connect. They start talking to this person, feel relief being able to unload, and an emotional affair happens. I think a physical affair is worse, but an emotional affair is damaging too, because your spouse is using this other person as a life preserver, not you. You either put up walls, refuse to understand, cling to damaging habits, and your spouse gives up on you. Story 37. Researchers have studied this. Men tend to feel the most betrayed by physical cheating. Women tend to feel more betrayed by emotional cheating. A woman is more likely to accept her husband having a one-night stand with a random woman he meets on a weekend away, provided he will never talk to her again and that she does not get pregnant. She is less likely to accept a months-long affair where her husband has become emotionally invested in someone he knows very well and sees regularly. A man is more likely to accept a woman who gets her emotional needs met by another man, provided there is no chance they will ever have sex. I think it has to do with opportunity cost. Think about it. A man in an emotional affair might actually leave his wife for the other woman, leading to a loss of resources and social embarrassment for the wife. On the other hand, a woman in a physical affair could become pregnant with the other man's child, and her husband could end up raising that child his whole life, believing it is his. Imagine the hurt of finding out you have been raising another man's child for 20 years, coupled with the realization that your wife also cheated on you and kept it a secret for your entire marriage. I cannot imagine a worse situation for a man. Story 38. I don't think emotional cheating is a real thing. I think catching feelings for someone and pursuing those feelings can lead to physical cheating. But I don't think having a crush and feeling connected to someone else is cheating or inherently unfaithful. You can't control how you feel about people, and it's normal to feel connected to someone who meets your criteria. If you feel yourself reaching the point where you might cross a physical boundary, that is when you should decide to back off a little. Story 39. I think emotional cheating is worse because it provides plausible deniability. You experience gaslighting in addition to feelings of betrayal. If it is physical, it is clear-cut and you can end it without any doubt. Story 40. What counts as crossing the line from emotional to physical? Both our emotional and physical health are linked in some way. Story 41. No, they both are bad and I would leave both, but physically doing something is actually doing it. Story 42. Sexual infidelity is worse and unforgivable. Emotional betrayal could be forgiven but is precarious, and checking your phone every night indicates distrust. Story 43. Obviously, they are linked, but I have never experienced either. I think I would actually be more hurt by purely physical cheating. If she fell in love with another man, thought he was amazing, and wanted to spend the rest of her life with him, I could at least understand it more. However, if she gave up our entire long-term relationship for one night in a random person's bed, it would hurt much more because it would seem like it mattered so little to her. Story 44. I think physical cheating is the end of the line, but if you are emotional cheating, you can still set up boundaries not to cross. Emotional cheating happens when you do not get everything you need or want at home. Therefore, subconsciously and eventually consciously, you seek it elsewhere. This is when it gets complicated. Some people emotionally cheat but never cross the physical intimacy boundary, either because they feel too guilty, there is no opportunity, or the other person does not want or does not feel the same way about you. I think with emotional cheating, you can still recover in whatever relationship you are in if both of you want to work on it. Once it crosses into physical, that is when there is severe, irreversible damage. Story 45. They are both cheating, so it does not make a difference, really. Both actions represent the biggest breach of trust in a relationship. Story 46. I do not know what emotional cheating would entail. However, I do know I cannot get human immunodeficiency virus from my partner sharing his feelings with someone else. Story 47. Both are an immediate end to the relationship. However, nowadays the term emotional cheating is used very frequently. Story 48. Emotional cheating is often underrated. It is generally considered normal in this materialistic world. When people talk about cheating, they usually refer to physical cheating only. Moving on from physical intimacy is tough, but emotional cheating in a relationship drains a person's energy much more. One partner might keep expecting things to get better with time. They might feel stuck in between, holding on to loving a version of the other person that will never exist. Emotional cheating keeps us stuck in this in-between state. Story 49. Like others have said, emotional cheating is usually the build-up to physical cheating. I will counter that a drunken mistake one-night stand is indeed preferable to your spouse flirting, catching a crush, or falling in love with someone else. Story 50. It really depends on the person and the relationship. Emotional cheating can feel much worse because it damages trust and connection on a deeper level, not just physically. For some, physical cheating is a bigger deal since it is a clear line crossed. Both can be equally damaging. It mostly comes down to what you and your partner consider a deal breaker. Story 51. No, you can flirt and have fun all you want, but once you start kissing or having sex without mutual agreement, it's over. Story 52. Physical cheating is worse because you can get a sexually transmitted disease which may result in infertility or cancer. Emotional cheating also harms relationships. Everyone knows they should not let anyone of the opposite gender or the same gender come too close emotionally. Emotional cheating often develops slowly, either intentionally or by ignoring warning signs. Story 53. Emotional harm is worse for both people. You can be intimate with someone without loving them, but giving your heart to someone else while you are in a relationship is very hurtful. Story 54. It is not a competition. However, it is harmful because it means your significant other is not meeting your needs, either sexually or emotionally. Story 55. Nobody has experienced unwanted pregnancies or incurable diseases from emotional cheating. Trust is destroyed in either case. Story 56. Emotional cheating is usually the lead-up to physical cheating, and at that point it is clear that the cheater knows what they are doing. That is not an accident. Story 57. I think physical deception is much worse. An emotional connection between two people can be established, but the reason people do not do this is most likely because they already have physical contact with someone else. That is just my opinion. What do you think? Story 58. Neither. That's like asking, do you want to be shot or stabbed? What kind of choice is this? Both cause pain in very different ways. It is impossible to quantify one over the other, as it depends on many factors. Story 59. Physical intimacy carries the risk of transmitting sexually transmitted diseases to your partner. Many sexually transmitted diseases have dire consequences, such as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome and human papillomavirus. There is nothing worse than passing these infections to someone. Story 60. If you are hurt emotionally, it will hurt longer than physical pain. For example, if I got hit, it would only hurt for a short time. However, if you are hurt emotionally, that pain lingers. Even if you do not think about it, it is always in the back of your mind. I feel emotional pain is worse than physical pain. But what is the difference between emotional cheating and physical cheating? Story 61. I don't think emotional cheating is even a thing. You can have vulnerability, emotional connection, closeness, and so on with friends of the same sex and family, and no one even bats an eye. Suddenly you get that from someone of the opposite sex, and it's called cheating? Give me a break. The whole idea that your significant other should be the one person you get everything social and emotional from is so stupid to me. Your significant other is the person you sleep with. That's the thing that's unique to them. Everything else you can have with friends and family too. Therefore, cheating is violating that one thing that's special and specific to them, in other words, physical only. Story 62. It is more dangerous long-term, I think. It leads to physical cheating if enough time is given. But physical cheating is instantly destructive and crosses all the lines at once. I feel I could maybe one day recover from emotional cheating, but if my wife got caught having sex with another man, I could never not assume she was being unfaithful anytime she was away or unavailable. The trust would not recover for me. There is an unending number of men who will have sex with a married woman without hesitation and will pursue them. She already made that choice once, so for life, it is unending tests of fidelity that she has shown she fails. At least with emotional cheating, it can sneak up and evolve before a person fully realizes what they are doing. Story 63. Most men agree that physical cheating is worse because it risks him having to use all his time and resources raising another man's child. Most women agree emotional cheating is worse because it risks her partner devoting his time and resources to another woman and her children after she has taken the risk of childbirth and time with him. These reasons are not necessarily fully conscious, but a survey would show this demographic breakdown. Both kinds of cheating are bad and both sides are right. Story 64. I see them both as relationship-ending behaviors. I go back and forth on which I think is worse, as I've caught my ex red-handed doing both on separate occasions. It's embarrassing to me that I allowed her to convince me it was due to her mental illness. She said it was a manic episode and promised to seek treatment if I would try to work through it with her. Even with treatment for her diagnosis and both of us attending couples counseling, she did it again. If I ever put myself back out there and start a new relationship, I will have zero tolerance for that. I always did before her, but she was the mother of my child as well as my fiancé. I stuck with her through her struggles for 12 years, so I allowed myself to be convinced we could work through this as well. That was my own fault. Story 65. I think they are both equally bad. No matter which one you choose, you are betraying your partner and hurting them. Story 66. As a man, I would say emotionally cheating is worse. A one-night stand I could potentially get over after some time, but emotional cheating is more destructive for me. Lying about running into him to get coffee when she had been blatantly asking the guy out for coffee multiple times. Hiding gifts he had given her. Messaging him all the time, even if they were just safe for work pictures. It sucks and can drive you crazy. These are not even the issues. The problem is that you lied about them and hid them. Can your significant other grab coffee with a guy? Of course. Can he give you gifts? Sure. But when lying comes into play, it is manipulative, and you realize this person does not respect you. Story 67. Emotional cheating hurts, but I can at least acknowledge that we cannot control many of our emotions, and you cannot simply stop yourself from feeling things for someone. Physical cheating is different. You did not physically engage with someone else, which is something you have much more control over. Story 68. Now that our children are teenagers, the divorce is finalized, and after 2 years of separation, I do not think I will ever embrace monogamy again. The women I see have other lovers, I have several lovers, no one wants commitment, and no one asks for it. We are all secure and mature adults who do not want to be controlled. Different people give each other different things. I do not get jealous because of that. I know that 20 years ago, in my early 30s, when having children and buying property was the goal, monogamy made sense for stability. But now that those goals are in the past, I see posts about cheating as products of deep insecurity. Do whatever and whoever you want, just respect the schedule. Story 69. Cheating is cheating. I think whatever is considered cheating within the bounds of your relationship is bad regardless. Story 70. As a woman, don't think like that. Yes, it is upsetting that you are not the one, but physical cheating exposes you to the risk of serious and potentially lifelong diseases. Emotional cheating hurts a lot, but physical cheating can become very dangerous very quickly. Story 71. I wouldn't tolerate either, but one could argue that physical cheating can be spontaneous and a heat of the moment kind of thing, the classic "it just happened and I regret it so much" situation. You cannot make that excuse with emotional cheating. Story 72. Emotional cheating is a kind of gray area. If trusting someone as much as you trust your partner is cheating, what about the trust you have for your mother or father? Many people would trust them more, but is that still cheating? Probably not. The same applies to friends, especially if you have known them for a long time. No, I would not say it is worse, mainly because there is no single way to define and identify emotional cheating, whereas physical cheating can be broadly defined and easily identified when caught. Story 73. Both are worse as both end up breaking the trust of the other person. You experience an emotional breakdown, whether it is emotional cheating or physical. Story 74. Emotional cheating does not result in pregnancy or catching any disease. Therefore, it is not a benefit. However, there are significant drawbacks to physical cheating that do not occur with emotional cheating. To summarize, emotional cheating is the lesser of two evils in my opinion. Story 75. I think emotional cheating can be worse. That hits deeper. You are letting someone else into your heart, your thoughts, your late-night conversations, all the things that are supposed to be sacred between you and your partner. It is like building a connection with someone else while keeping your partner in the dark. Story 76. My wife has health issues that make sex very difficult. I am allowed to have physical relations outside the house. The rule is essentially not to rub it in her face, not to have a girlfriend, and not to go on dates. This basically means I am allowed to see sex workers occasionally. She does not want it rubbed in her face but understands it is purely physical and that I still love her. She does not want to know when it happens or ever find evidence of it. However, she said it would bother her more to know I went out for dinner and laughed with another woman than that I had sex with one I never saw again. If I were in her position and something medical happened to me, like paralysis, I think I would see it the same way. I would be incapable of satisfying her physical needs. But the thought of her holding a man's hand and smiling is just as bad or worse than her being with a man she never saw again. Not that that would feel great either. So I am not sure that emotional cheating is worse, but it feels dirtier to me. Story 77. I have had an emotional affair before. Even though things in my relationship were bad and I was incredibly vulnerable at the time, I cannot justify my actions. Although I would not like to see my boyfriend with another woman, emotional cheating can be intense. It is dangerous. Story 78. Emotional cheating sounds like having a friend to me. I feel like I wouldn't even care. It might even save me from having to listen to the same nonsense repeatedly. However, any form of physical cheating or sexting is a disrespect I could not, nor would I want to, get past. Story 79. I have never experienced cheating. I do not cheat on women, and women do not cheat on me. Decency is important. Story 80. Emotional betrayal is worse because there are likely feelings involved, and the person is choosing to betray repeatedly, not just in a moment of weakness. It is surprising that people get more upset over sex, which might not involve any feelings or could be a one-time mistake, than over an emotional connection that has a huge amount of time invested and might include love. Story 81. Maybe this is a generational thing, but I don't even know what emotional cheating is. If it's fantasizing about being romantically attached to someone other than your partner, then yes, that is bad. But if it's just having emotional intimacy with people other than your romantic partner, that is not a bad thing at all. It is good for partners to love people besides just their significant other. You cannot put all that pressure on a single person to be everything you need them to be all the time. That creates a toxic codependency, which is not healthy. I love my wife. I would never cheat on my wife. But I have also encouraged her to take vacations or hang out with friends while I watch the kids at home, or to speak to a therapist about issues that I am simply not qualified to help her with. Encouraging self-care in your partner is itself a form of emotional support. Wanting to be your partner's entire universe is not only unhealthy and unsustainable, it is fundamentally selfish. You are partners. You do not own them. You are not their God. Story 82. Is it lust or love in your definition? I don't think loving someone from afar is anything like cheating. Love without attachment and just letting that person be because you are in a good relationship that you do not want to harm is good in my opinion. You can love many people from afar. Story 83. Cheating is cheating. Partners need to have open and honest communication in order to give and receive what the other needs. Anyone who is in a relationship where this is not the case should not stay in that relationship. In my opinion, Story 84. Cheating in any form is bad. I really do not think one is worse than the other. However, I do think different people react differently to each form of infidelity. Some people do not consider emotional cheating to be a problem, and other people are hurt worse when there is an emotional connection. In the end, though, cheating is cheating. Story 85. Physical cheating is something that can happen in the moment. It is possible to make one bad decision while vulnerable or angry. Emotional cheating takes time, investment, and intent. You might have many chances to realize it is wrong and stop, but do not. Neither is worse than the other. It is all subjective depending on the people being cheated on. Story 86. Think about it this way. Your partner gets drunk and sleeps with someone else. They immediately regret it and apologize. Your partner falls in love with someone else, trusts them more than you, talks to them more than you, and shares everything with them. They leave you to spend time with this other person. Though you know for certain nothing physical has happened, you also know that if given the chance, they would both absolutely cross that line. Both situations are painful and constitute cheating. One is a mistake. The other is moving on with someone else before ending your relationship. You can sleep with someone on a bad impulse. Falling in love and emotional cheating takes time, and your partner has weeks or even months to realize it and back off, but they choose not to. Story 87. Emotional cheating is not real. It is surprising that people in monogamous relationships are so insecure that they consider anyone else being close to their partner in any way as cheating. You need a lot of therapy. Story 88. They can have sex with anyone for all I care, as long as it is safe. I do not want sexually transmitted diseases. If they see an attractive person they want to be with, then go for it. But if we agree that we are partners and they become affectionate with someone behind my back, I am done. Story 89. Emotional cheating can be close friends sharing their emotions and secrets with each other when the trust level is high. However, it can also happen when your partner loves someone else or loves them more than you in a romantic way. In this type of emotional cheating, physical cheating is just a bonus. Physical cheating can be a mistake made in the heat of the moment or a wanted good time, which is mostly disrespectful towards the partner, but couples can recover from that. It can also be a fetish that the partner is afraid to share and seeks to fulfill in secret. This may develop emotions toward another person or persons who share the same or similar fetish. In this type of physical cheating, emotional cheating is just a bonus. Bottom line, it depends on what kind of physical or emotional cheating it is and how the partner reacts. For me personally, it is worse when emotions get involved. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.